Chosen one, your ex just realized you are not ordinary. They helped commit a spiritual crime against you. Listen carefully, because what I am about to reveal is not small and it is not casual. This is the kind of truth that can shift your heart, restore your strength, and unlock a blessing you almost gave up on. Your ex has finally seen what they tried to deny, that you were never ordinary, never average, never replaceable, and what they did against you was not just emotional harm, but a spiritual offense. If you miss this, you may miss the healing and elevation I am releasing over you right now. Comment, Amen. What this means is simple and serious. When they lied, betrayed, mocked, or abandoned you, they were not just hurting a person, they were resisting the calling and protection I placed on your life. They tried to diminish what I designed. They agreed with voices of jealousy, insecurity, and darkness that pushed them to treat you as if you were common when you were chosen. A spiritual crime is committed when someone knowingly tries to break what I am building. They saw your kindness and called it weakness. They saw your loyalty and treated it as something cheap. They saw your light and tried to cover it with manipulation, gossip, or emotional games. But now something has shifted inside them. They are beginning to feel the weight of what they did. They are recognizing that losing you was not luck or coincidence, it was the consequence of mishandling something sacred. You were not just a partner in their life, you were a blessing assigned to them, and they treated that blessing carelessly. Within the first moments of this realization, they felt a deep discomfort. They thought they could easily replace you. They thought someone else would carry the same grace, the same heart, the same spiritual covering. Now they see that what you carried was rare. If this is speaking to your spirit, take a second to like the video, because your agreement strengthens the breakthrough that is unfolding over your life. You have cried in secret. You questioned your worth. You replayed conversations in your mind wondering if you were too much or not enough. But I was watching every tear, and I was recording every injustice. They helped commit a spiritual crime because they partnered with attitudes and actions that tried to wound what I anointed. They allowed pride to speak louder than love. They allowed ego to override honor. Yet here is what they did not understand. You are not protected because you are perfect. You are protected because you are mine. When they attacked your character, they touched something I am invested in. When they mocked your faith or dismissed your dreams, they challenged what I planted in you. That is why they are now restless. They cannot sleep the same. They scroll through memories and feel an ache they cannot explain. They begin to compare everyone to you, and everyone falls short. This is not about revenge. This is about revelation. I am letting them see clearly what they once treated lightly. Chosen one, you were carrying favor. You were carrying discernment. You were carrying a level of emotional depth and spiritual awareness that they were not mature enough to steward. They thought your standards were too high. They thought your boundaries were dramatic. They thought your sensitivity was a flaw. Now they see it was wisdom. Now they see it was protection. Now they see it was love, expressed with purity. Comment 1212. The spiritual crime was not just in leaving, it was in how they tried to distort your identity after leaving. They told stories that painted you as difficult. They tried to convince themselves and others that you were the problem, but every false word spoken against you has an expiration date. I do not allow lies to live forever around someone I have marked with purpose. Truth always rises. You felt like you were losing when they walked away. In reality, I was separating you from someone who could not carry where I am taking you. I was protecting your next season. They realized you are not ordinary because ordinary people do not recover the way you did. Ordinary people do not heal and glow the way you are glowing. Ordinary people do not walk away wounded and still choose to trust me. Your resilience is what exposed their mistake. Your peace is what unsettled them. Your growth is what confirmed they mishandled something divine. Do not misunderstand this season. I am not calling you to go back. I am calling you to understand your value. When someone commits a spiritual offense against a chosen one, consequences follow in quiet ways. Opportunities slip through their hands. Relationships feel empty. Achievements do not satisfy. It is not because I am cruel. It is because there is a lesson attached to how they treated you. They must learn what honor means. You, on the other hand, are entering restoration. What they tried to drain from you, I am refilling. What they tried to break in you, I am strengthening. You are not behind. You are not rejected. You are refined. The pain you carried has become a filter. You will never again ignore red flags. You will never again silence your intuition to keep someone comfortable. I allowed this experience not to destroy you, but to sharpen you. The next person who steps into your life will meet a wiser, clearer, stronger version of you, and your ex knows it. They see from a distance that you are rising. They sense that you are not stuck in bitterness. Have you heard about the secret ritual the government does not want people to know? Imagine if just 7 seconds could clear your debts and bring wealth effortlessly. A leaked CIA report and 4 top neuroscience labs confirm this is real. Families who are struggling are now moving into dream homes with peace of mind. But this secret could be taken down at any time. Click the link in the description and comments before it vanishes. That is why they feel the weight of what they did, not because you are chasing them, but because you are thriving without them. Chosen one, you are divinely protected. You are divinely favored. You are not ordinary, and anyone who treats you as common will eventually feel the loss deeply. Stand firm in that truth. I am turning what felt like betrayal into preparation. I am turning what felt like rejection into redirection. At first, they tried to distract themselves. They told their friends they were happier. They posted smiles that did not reach their eyes. They convinced themselves that walking away was strength, when in truth it was fear. Fear of your depth, fear of your standards, fear of the way you could see through their masks without even trying. You were never fooled by surface charm. You sensed shifts in tone. You noticed inconsistencies in stories. You felt when something was off, even when there were no clear words to explain it. That discernment is not ordinary. That awareness is not random. It is part of the spiritual sensitivity I placed inside you. They now realize that what they once called overthinking was actually intuition. What they labeled as insecurity was wisdom warning you. What they mocked as intensity was devotion. Comment 333. This realization is heavy for them because it forces them to confront their own immaturity. They must admit that they projected their confusion onto you. They must accept that instead of rising to your level, they tried to pull you down to theirs. When someone commits a spiritual offense against a chosen one, the offense does not disappear into the air. It lingers until understanding is born. It presses on their conscience. It shows up in quiet moments when the room is dark and there is no one to impress. You might not see it, but I see it. I see the late-night reflections. I see the conversations they rehearse in their mind that they will never have with you. I see the way they scroll through your name and hesitate. They are realizing that you were not asking for too much. You were asking for alignment. You were asking for honesty. You were asking for love that matched your loyalty. And because they could not provide it, they chose to criticize you instead. It was easier to call you dramatic than to admit they were inconsistent. It was easier to say you were demanding than to confess they were undisciplined. Chosen one, I need you to hear this clearly. Their inability was never a reflection of your worth. You were not too intense, you were intentional. You were not too sensitive, you were spiritually aware. You did not lose them, they lost access to someone who prayed for them, believed in them, and carried them in your heart with sincerity. That is why their spirit feels unsettled now. They are beginning to understand that not every connection is replaceable. Not every person comes with the same grace and covering. You carried peace into chaos. You carried stability into their confusion. You carried a quiet strength that held things together more than you even realized. When you left, whether by choice or by being pushed away, a gap formed in their life. They thought someone else could fill it quickly. They thought attention from others would numb the absence. But attention is not the same as alignment. Noise is not the same as peace. And you were peace in their life. There is a difference between missing someone and recognizing you mishandled a blessing. They are now moving from missing you to understanding they dishonored something sacred. That understanding is what makes this a spiritual matter. When someone mistreats what I have marked, they eventually feel the consequence of that decision in ways that are subtle but powerful. Doors that seemed open begin to close. Opportunities that looked promising begin to fade. Relationships that seemed exciting begin to feel empty. It is not punishment driven by anger. It is correction driven by truth. Meanwhile, look at what I am doing in you. You are stronger than you were. You have boundaries that are clearer. You have standards that are sharper. You do not beg for love anymore. You do not chase explanations. You do not shrink to keep someone from leaving. That growth is evidence that I was working through your pain. Comment 777. They see your growth from a distance. They notice your confidence. They sense that you are no longer energetically tied to their approval. That is what shocks them. They expected you to stay stuck. They assumed you would circle back. Instead, you healed. Instead, you turned inward and upward. You cried, but you did not crumble. You broke, but you did not become bitter. This is what makes you not ordinary. Ordinary hearts harden after betrayal. Chosen hearts refine. I am refining you for a love that matches your spirit. I am preparing you for connections that honor your depth instead of fearing it. Do not let their late realization confuse you. Do not let their regret pull you backward. Sometimes people recognize your value only after they no longer have access to you. That recognition does not mean they are ready. It only means they are aware. Awareness and maturity are not the same. You must not interpret their realization as a sign to reopen doors I closed. I closed those doors for a reason. I saw conversations you never heard. I saw intentions you never discovered. I saw future wounds that would have been deeper than the ones you already endured. When I removed you from that situation, I was preserving your calling. I was shielding your destiny. Why is this 7-second CIA ritual spreading so quickly everywhere? Recent CIA leaks have revealed a strong brain ritual that triggers an instant flow of wealth. This short technique, validated by 4 neuroscience labs, is rapidly transforming lives. From heavy debt to dream vacations, this could be your path to abundance. If you are seeing this, consider yourself lucky, because the page may disappear soon. Click the link in the description and comments before it is deleted. You might have felt abandoned. In reality, you were rescued. Now they feel the weight of that rescue. They sense that something protected you from staying in a cycle that would have drained you. Chosen one, you are stepping into a season where you will no longer tolerate confusion disguised as passion. You will no longer accept inconsistency disguised as complexity. You will choose peace without apology. You will choose alignment without fear. And the one who once hurt you will serve as a reminder of how far you have come, not as a temptation, but as a testimony. I am not finished restoring you. I am not finished elevating you. The spiritual crime committed against you did not cancel your destiny. It exposed the difference between who was ready to walk with you and who was not. Let them realize. Let them reflect. Let them learn. You focus on rising. I am turning your pain into discernment. I am turning your tears into strength. I am turning your heartbreak into a boundary that protects your future. You are not ordinary, and you were never meant to be handled casually. The next season of your life will prove that the loss they are feeling is real, and the favor on your life is undeniable. You carried more weight in that relationship than you should have. You prayed when they doubted. You forgave when they deflected. You tried to communicate when they avoided truth. Now they are replaying those moments in their mind. They remember how you asked for clarity with calmness. They remember how you tried to build instead of break. They remember how you warned them about patterns that would eventually cost them something precious. At the time, they rolled their eyes. They told themselves you were exaggerating. They chose temporary ego over long-term stability. But truth does not disappear because someone refuses to accept it. Truth waits. Truth stands. Truth eventually proves itself. That is what is happening now. The things you once said gently are echoing loudly in their thoughts. The boundaries you set that felt inconvenient now look wise. They are realizing that you were not trying to control them. You were trying to protect the connection. You were trying to protect your own heart while still loving them honestly. Comment 1111. Chosen one, I need you to see how deeply I was involved in this. When they spoke words that tried to lower your confidence, I was strengthening your identity in secret. When they ignored your needs, I was teaching you to value your own voice. You thought the silence meant I was distant. In reality, I was working behind the scenes. I was separating your worth from their approval. You were never meant to measure yourself by their attention. You were never meant to question your calling because of their confusion. The spiritual offense was rooted in dishonor. They treated lightly what required reverence. They handled casually what required care. You were not just another chapter in their story. You were a divine appointment. You were a mirror showing them where they needed growth. Instead of embracing that growth, they resisted it. Instead of appreciating your depth, they felt exposed by it. Exposure feels uncomfortable to someone who is not ready to change, so they blamed you for the discomfort that truth created inside them. But now that you are gone, there is no one to distract them from themselves. There is no one to project onto. There is only reflection. Reflection is powerful. Reflection forces accountability. They are beginning to understand that your standards were not attacks. Your questions were not threats. Your desire for consistency was not pressure. It was alignment. It was health. It was maturity. You are seeing something beautiful unfold in your own life. You are calmer. You are more secure. You are no longer chasing reassurance. You have started to enjoy your own company. You have begun to trust your instincts without second-guessing every feeling. That growth is not small. That growth is evidence that I was refining you through fire. You walked through heartbreak without losing your faith. You endured disappointment without turning bitter. That is not ordinary strength. That is grace at work in your life. Comment 555. Their regret does not mean you failed. Their realization does not mean you should return. Sometimes, the lesson they need to learn can only be learned through loss. Sometimes, awareness only comes after separation. You are not called to be someone's teacher at the cost of your peace. You are not called to sacrifice your emotional safety to help someone mature. I will deal with their growth. I will handle their awakening. Your assignment is to keep walking forward. The spiritual crime committed against you did not strip you of your light. It revealed how bright that light truly is. They thought dimming you would make them feel bigger. Instead, losing you made them feel smaller. They thought criticizing you would protect their pride. Instead, your absence exposed their insecurity. This is not about them suffering. This is about balance being restored. You sowed loyalty, you sowed patience, you sowed prayer. And even if they did not return those things, I saw every seed. I am not unjust. I do not ignore what is planted in sincerity. There is a harvest attached to your faithfulness, and it will not be given to someone who mishandled you. I am preparing connections that match your effort. I am aligning relationships that reflect your integrity. You will not have to beg for clarity in the next season. You will not have to convince someone to value you. The one I am preparing for you will see your depth and feel honored, not threatened. Your ex's realization is simply confirmation that you were always operating at a higher level than they understood. Let that confirmation strengthen you, not soften your boundaries. You are chosen not because you are flawless, but because you are willing to grow. You are favored not because you never hurt, but because you bring your hurt to me instead of letting it harden you. Could the CIA really be hiding a 7-second ritual that turns money struggles into success? A confidential CIA finding exposes a unique 7-second practice that activates money-attracting brainwaves automatically. Backed by science and 4 elite labs, this simple home ritual is helping struggling people move into dream lifestyles. But this page may not stay live. Click the link in the description and comments before it is wiped from the internet. The offense against you will not define your story. It will mark a turning point. It will mark the moment you stopped settling. It will mark the moment you understood that love without honor is not love at all. As you move forward, you will notice something shifting in your spirit. You will feel less anxious. You will feel less attached to what could have been. That peace is my hand on your life. They may attempt to re-enter. They may reach out with words polished by regret. If that moment comes, you will not respond from loneliness. You will respond from clarity, because now you know who you are. You know that you are not ordinary. You know that you carry purpose that cannot be treated casually. You know that any connection that costs you your peace is too expensive. I am lifting your vision higher. I am healing the parts of you that still feel tender. Do not rush your process. Do not compare your timeline. The one who once hurt you is learning through loss. You are learning through growth. There is a difference. Stay anchored in me. Stay grounded in truth. What felt like betrayal is becoming preparation. What felt like rejection is becoming redirection. You carried vision. You spoke about the future with faith. You believed in building something stable, honest, and aligned. That vision challenged them. It revealed where they were inconsistent. It revealed where they were pretending instead of progressing. Instead of rising to meet you, they attempted to shrink you. Instead of strengthening themselves, they criticized your expectations. That is where the spiritual offense took root. They tried to make you question the very qualities I planted inside you. They made you feel like your standards were unrealistic. They implied that your desire for depth was excessive. They acted as if your loyalty was naive. But I was watching every conversation. I was measuring every intention. You began to doubt yourself at times. You wondered if you should lower your expectations just to keep the peace. You wondered if love required you to accept less than you deserved. That confusion was not weakness. It was the tension between your calling and their limitations. Comment 999. Chosen one, you must hear this clearly. I never asked you to shrink for anyone. I never designed you to silence your intuition, to make someone comfortable. Your spirit is wired for truth. Your heart is built for real alignment. When they tried to distort that, they were stepping outside the grace that was covering the relationship. They were moving in ego instead of humility. Now they are facing the results of that decision. Not in dramatic public ways, but in subtle internal unrest. They feel the difference between what they have now and what they had with you. They notice the absence of depth. They recognize that not everyone prays for them the way you did. Not everyone sees their potential and still chooses to love them patiently. They are discovering that your presence carried peace they did not appreciate at the time. Meanwhile, I am strengthening you from the inside out. I am rebuilding your confidence in places where it was quietly chipped away. You no longer feel the need to prove your worth. You no longer feel the urge to over-explain your feelings. You are becoming grounded. You are becoming steady. The spiritual crime committed against you tried to weaken your self-trust. It tried to make you second-guess your discernment. But instead of losing your clarity, you sharpened it. Instead of losing your faith, you deepened it. You began to pray with more focus. You began to reflect with more honesty. You stopped chasing validation and started seeking alignment. Comment 1010. This is what separates you from ordinary paths. You do not collapse under betrayal. You evolve. You did not let their treatment define your identity. You brought your pain to me and allowed me to reshape it. I am not interested in making you bitter. I am interested in making you wiser. There are patterns you will never accept again. There are red flags you will never excuse again. You have learned that love without consistency is confusion. You have learned that affection without accountability is unstable. They are realizing that you were not difficult, you were discerning. They are realizing that your boundaries were not punishment, they were protection. But realization does not automatically equal transformation. Awareness does not automatically produce maturity. Do not be moved by words alone. Do not be swayed by apologies that are not backed by change. I am guarding your heart carefully now. I am filtering what enters your space. You will not repeat old cycles. You will not revisit lessons already learned. The pain you endured has upgraded your spirit. It has elevated your expectations. You now recognize that love must feel safe. Love must feel steady. You will no longer accept chaos as chemistry. Your ex senses this shift. They sense that you are no longer emotionally accessible in the same way. That awareness unsettles them because it confirms that you are truly moving forward. They once assumed you would always be there. They assumed your loyalty guaranteed their comfort. Now they see that loyalty is a gift, not a guarantee. They see that once trust is broken deeply enough, it is not easily restored. This understanding is heavy for them. But you, chosen one, are lighter. You are lighter because you are no longer carrying their inconsistency. You are no longer absorbing their confusion. You have released what was never meant to define you. I am preparing you for connections that honor your energy. I am aligning you with people who recognize your depth without feeling threatened. Could a hidden CIA discovery explain why so many people are suddenly living in luxury? Secret CIA research has surfaced, revealing a brain technique that pulls in wealth almost like magic. It takes just 7 seconds, can be done at home, and is supported by 4 neuroscience labs. People are leaving debt behind and enjoying luxury right now. but this information might be removed soon. Click the link in the description and comments before it disappears. The spiritual offense against you did not weaken your destiny. It refined your discernment. It taught you to trust your intuition sooner. It taught you to listen when something feels off. You are stepping into a season where your peace will be non-negotiable. You will choose clarity over chaos. You will choose respect over intensity. And the person who once hurt you will remain a lesson, not a longing. Do not romanticize what I removed. Do not glamorize what drained you. I removed you for protection. I separated you for elevation. Your future does not include constant doubt. Your future does not include walking on emotional eggshells. It includes partnership that feels balanced. It includes love that feels secure. Your ex's realization is simply confirmation that what they lost was rare, but what you are gaining is greater. Stay aligned with me. Stay grounded in truth. I am restoring your sense of self. I am rebuilding your joy. And as you continue forward, you will look back not with regret, but with gratitude that I did not allow you to stay where you were undervalued. You once carried love in a way that overlooked warning signs. You gave chances when wisdom whispered caution. You believed effort from you could compensate for lack from them. Now you understand that love cannot be sustained by one person's strength alone. You understand that connection requires mutual honor. This understanding is not bitterness, it is maturity. The spiritual offense against you tried to teach you that you were hard to love. It tried to convince you that your depth was a burden. But I am rewriting that lie in your heart.